Hi, everybody. Queen Crystal King in the building. I titled this live Reflecting because a lot of times with my meditation, I look back on situations that maybe I could have made a different choice, or maybe there was no different choice to make, or things I could improve on. This particular reflection has a lot to do with my journey, my family, my friends, and how I believe that I'm handling it as best I possibly could under the circumstances. My first reflection was when I had breast cancer. I've always known that I had that lump, and I had a lump before then, but I decided to just go ahead and have it removed, and it was benign. Benign means not cancerous. Malignant means cancerous. So when I got the second lump, I said, oh, well, the first one, that wasn't cancerous, so I'll get to it. There were so many things that I put in front of taking care of myself, taking care of my husband, different things around me. And it almost cost me my life. And this is why I say, please don't procrastinate when it comes to medical situations. It was painful. The lump was very solid. It was very hard. And it was actually protruding. And believe it or not, I still found a reason why I should take care of everything else and everyone else. And when it comes to me, I'll get to it. I don't know what made me ask, but I asked two people, I said, what does this feel like to you? And what they said was, feels like you should go to the doctor. I even put that off a little while longer. By the time I got to the doctor, they told me that it was stage 2, triple negative breast cancer. I didn't want to believe it. I did not want to believe it because I was hoping that these results would be the same as the first result. As a matter of fact, I had actually put it in my mind that that's what it was. But no amount of hoping and wishing could have changed the outcome of that diagnosis. It still kind of makes me shake a little bit that I just continue to put off something so important. For what? Right now, I just can't think for the life of me why I did something so foolish. There's no other way to say it. It was just foolish. But a lot of times, as a woman, you know, I tend to wear a lot of hats. I tend to downplay how I feel until it gets to the point where I just can't take it anymore. Why I would put myself through that, I have no idea, but I did. So I felt like I was very robotic when it came to receiving the news. And I figured if I handled it very matter of fact, like, okay, so what do we do now? That's what I said. I said, okay, well, what do we do now? They told me I had to go and see an oncologist. I did. Then I had to go see a surgeon. They said, bring somebody with you when you come. And I'm like, all right. I figure if I handle it like that, I won't be scared. But I really was terrified because cancer runs in my family. My mother's mother passed from breast cancer. And I thought about her. And then I thought about my nephew, who was only 15 years old, and he had brain cancer. My mom, she didn't have any history of that. But I was just trying to figure out how I can tell her that I had cancer too. My dad's mom had cancer. And it goes a little deeper too. So I brought my husband with me to the surgeon. I remember him saying, this is a very aggressive cancer and it's growing rapidly. And we need to do something aggressive to stop this. He told me about my options, which weren't many, but definitely I had to start chemo immediately. My husband wanted me to get a second opinion, and I could have, but it's something inside me that says this man knows what he's talking about. The hospital was comfortable to me. And they used to say prayers over the intercom. And people took time and they talked to you and they made sure that you were okay. But the main thing is, time was not on my side. And I did not want to die. So I said, okay, whatever it is you say I need to do, that's what I'll do. I was very matter of fact when I talked to my mom, my best friend, the rest of my family and friends. And I couldn't bring myself to cry. I just couldn't. I started thinking, what do I tell my boys? I have to be strong for them. I have to be strong for my husband. I don't want my mom to worry. I didn't want anybody to worry. So I figured I'd take this really stoic approach. So I think I said something like, Mom, I went to the doctor and he told me I have stage 2 triple negative breast cancer. And I think I remember the phone getting really quiet, but the silence was like a loud type of silence, if you can understand that. I believe she asked me, was I okay? What did the doctor say? I said that they want me to start chemo right away because it's very aggressive. So I imagine she was telling the rest of the family. I had already talked to my husband about it. I had finally got around to telling my best friend. And she told me that at her church, they have this event and it's called Pretty in Pink. It's for breast cancer patients, breast cancer survivors, and people who have family or friends that are going through breast cancer or breast cancer survivor. I told her, I don't know if I'm ready for anything like that. She says, what do you mean? She has a way of making things make sense. And it's almost like if I could take those words and stuff them back in my mouth. But they were already out. And I was, again, trying to make excuses why I shouldn't be there. But I went and I was looking around and it was a bunch of different women there. Some of them had wigs, hats, scarves. Some of them just came in with their head that was bald. And to me, it looked like they had full acceptance of what was happening to them. But I think I was still in shock. Well, we got to the part where they were having a church service and the choir was up front singing. And I was sitting on a bench by myself because my best friend was helping out in the back and making sure everybody got their programs and things like that. And I just was looking around like, I don't belong here. I do not belong here. And then the choir started singing a song that said, you belong here. I looked around like, okay. Then I forget what this next song was. And I just started crying, just like a floodgate type of, like my whole body just opened up and I just screamed. Like it's true. It's really, really true. Like I knew it was true, but I had really accepted it in that moment. And then I saw my best friend in the corner of my eye. She started walking towards me, then she walked away. She came back with a box of tissue and she just let me cry. I cried so hard. I don't remember ever crying that hard. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. But she just let me lay on her shoulder and I just cried. Then we came to another part of the program where people were celebrating being a survivor, people just finding out that they had breast cancer or family members. And it had hit me right then and there that my best friend's sister had been diagnosed with breast cancer, same time as me. But she had had it for a while and she was doing her chemo and stuff. And I went over there and I sat by her. And all I could do was just look around like I was in the twilight zone. And I wanted to ask questions, but I didn't know what to say. So I just sat there and watched them talk. And they were just talking about it like it was just a regular day. Like, well, how many treatments have you had? And are you still getting sick on the stomach? And did your hair fall out right away or did it take a while? And she sat next to me and she said something. And I caught myself looking at her almost like I was looking at what was about to happen to me. And she said, "Oh, I'm fine. I'm good." And she took her hat off and all of her hair was gone. And I just remember feeling like all the blood just drained out of my body. I'm quite sure I looked it crazy, but my eyes were big as saucers and I was just looking around at everybody like, oh my God, oh my God, this is what's going to happen to me. And she said, you have that look like I did when I first started seeing people. You said, but it'll be all right. After a while, you'll understand it a little more and you'll just do what it is the doctor's asking you to do. And you won't be doing it by yourself. And then I think I just walked out of there saying to myself, I really have breast cancer. Wow. So when it came time for my first treatment, my oldest son was there and my sister, bless her heart. She was right there to make sure I was okay. I was thinking to myself, this chemo stuff, like, does it hurt when it goes in? Does it burn? What kind of needles do they use? How long do I have to do this? My mom just would bust in a prayer. And when I say bust in a prayer, she just cut straight down the middle of that because I already suffer from chronic pain as it is. And the thought of taking on something as big as breast cancer, I didn't know whether my body could handle it, whether my mind could handle it. And she finally heard me break down and actually accept what was happening to me. I kind of snapped out of that shock. So after that, my best friend was there for every single chemo. It just got to the point where my body just started getting so weak that I could barely walk by myself. I was walking to the treatments. Then it got to the point where I couldn't walk down the hallways anymore. So my girlfriend went and got a wheelchair for me. My boys were there, and my youngest one kept me up front in prayer. I drank plenty of water to the point where, like, I went to sleep and I was dreaming about 2 cases of water. And I got 2 cases of water before I went to church. And we put them up on the altar. One went for the church and one went for me. And I got that water blessed. And I drank that water. And then I still came home. I still did what I had to do for my husband because he was a bilateral amputee by that time, meaning he had no legs. So I have 2 godmothers, and they were praying hard for me. And my other godmother, she was making sure that my first Thanksgiving was a good one. You know, members of the Elk Lodge was cooking Thanksgiving dinner for cancer patients, and she got me a bunch of platters, and I broke them up into dishes so that, like after Thanksgiving, you can go back and get leftovers and stuff. So I broke it up into containers, and I was able to make that meal last a couple days, and little different things I had learned to try and make things a little simpler for me. Then I just got to losing so much weight, and I started brushing my hair, and my hair started coming out in the brush. So I told them it's time for me to shave my head now. And my boys was there. My youngest, he said, Mom, he said, Mom, if you're shaving your head, I'm going to shave my head too. And he did. And I got to the point where it just wasn't even any hair to brush anymore. It was just smooth, just a smooth head. No eyebrows, no eyelashes, no hair. Then my fingernails started turning black. The palms of my hands, my toenails, the palms of the bottoms of my feet. And I would stand up and my clothes would just slide off. I kept going till they had shrunk. The lump had shrunk to the point where they could barely find it. Then it was time for surgery. I wanted to get all the breast tissue removed and have uh, implants. But at the last minute, my insurance changed their mind. I could get surgery as a result of surgery, but they would consider that elective surgery. So I just got the lump removed. And they took surrounding breast tissue from that. So one smaller than the other, but that's okay. Then they had to go up underneath my arm and take my lymph nodes to make sure that there was no cancer there. And it wasn't. And what they called me was a complete recovery. Absolutely, positively, no cancer left. I thought I was taking 4 treatments, and I ended up taking 8 treatments because they had to double the chemo, because I told you previously was very aggressive. They had to think of a game plan. They had a team that they would discuss each person's case with. And they didn't leave from that meeting until everyone was on the same page with what they wanted to do. There was some type of suction that they put on the side of me. So as it would drain, I would have to measure it, to see the progress. And there were no stitches. They glued me together. And as a diabetic, that was extremely risky. But God had me covered, and I just healed with 2 lines. Then it was time for the radiation. There was no way anybody could have prepared me for that. And a part of me is doing this just in case somebody is about to go through this, and you'll have somewhat of an idea what to expect, because I didn't. Put you on a table. They position you in the radiation ray. It's like a ray, and it's aimed right at my breast where the cancer was. And it didn't hurt. But then after a while, it started getting really, really sore, like it was on fire. And no matter how bad it was hurting me, I couldn't stop my treatments. Then my entire breast turned black. As a matter of fact, my skin got 3 times darker all over. Then it started to peel in sheets, and the sheets went straight down to pink meat. My entire breast turned black. Then it peeled pink as if I was burnt. And that's how it felt, like I was burnt. And I would walk down the hall to the cafeteria, get my food, try to hold it down, then come back again for more treatment. I had to use something called Aquaphor, and I had to rub that on my breast. Everything turned pink. Nipple, areola, my entire breast was a bright pink. But I couldn't stop because the treatments weren't over. I had about 21 rounds of radiation. Remember, I said I had to do 2 chemos at once. I thought I was doing 4. I did 8. And then I had 4 more treatments after that. So that was 12 rounds of chemo. And I thought that was a nightmare until I looked at the lady next to me. And she was about twice my age. She was coming back the second time because the cancer had came back, which terrified me. And she had the shingles. When I finished my chemo, you had to ring a bell. And everybody celebrated. And my family was coming in, my sons, my friends, everything. You know, they were there to celebrate that last treatment. And then all of a sudden, I looked at the door and I saw all these balloons, but I wasn't quite sure who was holding the balloons. And I said, "Oh, that's my mom. That's my mom." And I squinted my eyes. I'm like, it really is my mom. I mean, I was so happy to see her. I mean, my mom has health issues of her own, and I knew she was there for me, and she loved me, and she was praying for me. But she drove all the way just to be there for me. And I was about to jump off of that bed with the IV still in me. They said, "Wait a minute, Crystal, wait a minute." And I could not believe I was hugging my mom. Just like a little kid. And we laughed and we joked and we had a good time. We went out to eat. Now fast forward to my radiation. When I finished that, got my skin color back. I still have dark circles under my eyes. That was the color that my skin had turned. And the rest of my skin came back to the original color, except for under my eyes to this day. And trying to wrap my mind around why these type of things happen to people. I feel like innocent people, you know? How some people can walk away and some people don't. And I may never know the answer to that, but I'm grateful God allowed me to walk away. Thank God I didn't get what I deserve, you know? I was breast cancer free for 4 years. The 5th year, I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. Now here I am again. I feel like if anybody on this earth had to go through that, I would rather it be me. I had to look my boys in the eye again and tell them that I'm going through this again. So, can I do it? Yes. Will I do it? Yes. Yes, I will. For those who didn't walk away, I'll do it. And when I do, I'll be there for someone else and I'll let them know the way I resolved it in my mind. Even if I leave this world fighting, I'll still be healed because God doesn't allow cancer where I'm going. So, my reflection this morning was how it was. My gratitude this morning is how it is. I'm tired. I didn't sleep. I made myself eat. I made myself drink. I not too long ago got out of the hospital because my vitals were so low. They got away from me, and I don't know how that happened. But my youngest son is in the medical field, and he recognized that I was in distress. They got me to the hospital. Come to find out, had I stayed home, I wouldn't have made it. And I had a mini stroke. So there's something that God has in store for me. I'm not sure what it is. Even if it's nothing but today. If that's what's meant for me, I'll have it. And there's nothing the devil can do about it. Luck is nowhere in my story. Only blessings and miracles. You snuck up on me, Tanya Guy. And I love you for it. Cody had to use the same thing, the same reason. This is my sister. It was her son that passed from brain cancer. You are so brave. A strong black queen. I don't feel that way. I love you so much, Tanya. I'm fighting this morning. I'm fighting so hard. But you know I'm not going to stop fighting. You know that. God is so good and merciful. And I know he's got his hands all on me. By you showing up, you just confirm that. I feel stronger already, sis. I feel stronger already. I'm speaking to somebody this morning. Somebody just got the news, or the news is on their way, or you're waiting for your results. You're welcome to come in my comment section. Whatever you want to ask. If I can help you, I will. If I can't help you, I'll guide you to someone who can. My lives never make any sense to me. But I hope they make sense to somebody. Praise God. We got you covered in prayer. I know. I know. Sometimes I think God gets tired of me calling on him, but I don't know what else to do. That's all we know. That's all we know. Thank you for coming in here, being with me this morning. I had to do this. If you're not the most important person in your life, then something's wrong. It's okay to be responsible and be a good wife and mother and friend, daughter, aunt. But if I don't take care of myself, I can't do any of those things. I just needed to reflect this morning. And I'm just so glad the devil was a liar. I'm so glad. And again, I thank you, sis. I love you. I thank everybody for listening to me this morning. Love, peace, and chicken grease.